Well, the Chartmaster has brought along some names he says are ready to break out to new highs. So let's bring in Cornerstone Macro's Carter Braxton-Worth to lay it out. Carter, what are you looking at?
Well, a lot of good action, as you all discussed, in key names. And yet, of course, there's always another one that is setting up to prospectively do the same. We're going to look at the XRT first. This is the Spiders retail ETF, and it's meant to track a broad range of names, including in here Amazon and Walmart and Costco, Target, but then also smaller ones like Macy's and Kohl's, Gap, Urban. It goes on and on. 106 stocks, almost $2.5 trillion. And look at it. It is sitting here, interestingly, right where it was on the 28th of January. Here we are, the 28th of June. 6 months it's taken to work off the excess associated with, guess what? GameStop taking on a big weight in the index. And so the presumption is a breakout. Now with that setup, look at two stocks that are set up identically. Take a look at Urban Outfitters, a perfect example of the same thing, meaning you have a stock that's in an uptrend that then starts to have a flattening top as the tension builds, and ultimately you exceed the top, you break out. And I think Urban is setting up to do just that. 45 would be a reasonable price objective, and the stock closed today at 41.20. Now look at the next one, FIVE. It's the same setup, meaning the XRT, the index, doesn't look that way. It's the stocks that make up the index that determine what the index looks like. So FIVE, same setup, good consolidation. Presumption is a breakout, as we're seeing in so many names. And in this case, a price objective of 210, stock closed at 197. And then let's look at one sort of a high flyer, Overstock. I've got two charts here. Now this is a weekly chart going back to when this was really basically went from nothing in 2017 to a high of essentially 95, and then plunged almost out of business, saved by COVID, if you will. But what you can see there is that we're basically plus minus, we keep trying to get above that key level of 2017. And so the final chart, another way to draw the lines, basically you have converging trend lines here. You can call it a wedge, you can call it a symmetrical triangle, doesn't matter. What it represents is a massive standoff. Now you make your bets. My bet is it breaks out to the upside.
Carter, thank you. We'll see you in a few minutes on OA. Carter Braxton-Worth, a Cornerstone. Steve Grosso, you have been in Overstock.
I have been. And I'm not in it currently, and if you look at that chart, there's a reason why I'm not in it. It's too volatile for me. It's up, I think it's 90% or whatever that number was. It's an atrocious number. I'd rather go with 5 below, only up 13% year to date. Maybe that one's more conservative.
Take your pick, Karen. Urban, 5, or Overstock? I know none of them are your style.
Not quite my thing. Was Overstock, though, I just got to ask, though, wasn't Overstock so highly correlated with crypto that was really the overlay of the crypto?
Very volatile.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. So that, I got to sort of remove that. That's a separate bet. You're taking on crypto and Overstock at the same time. Probably Urban. I think, consumers flush with cash. Young people are flush with cash, stimulus checks for the short term.
Yeah.
But it's not expensive. It's not crazy expensive at all.
Tim?
I like Dollar Tree, which we're going to talk about, I think, soon. But 5 below in that category is of the charts Carter just showed is the most interesting to me. I'm actually worried about that XRT because I think the R in XRT has read it, and I still believe that there's a lot of froth in that. Even though he's right, that spike from Jan 20, et cetera, is something that clearly it's begun to work off. But I still think if you look at the trading action in that name, it's too highly correlated to names that I don't think fundamentally make sense. So again, I think the 5 below. And that type of trade and that segment, fundamentally, I think the valuations there are actually quite interesting for where we are in the cycle.
Yeah, we've talked many times on this show about how XRT may not be the retailers that you think should be in the XRT, and they're actually smaller, more specialty names that do tend, these days at least, to be Reddit names. Delano, which ones do you like? Are the ones at Carter? Urban, 5, Overstock?
I'm liking Dollar Tree as well, but I think I agree with Karen on Urban Outfitters. We have people flush with cash. We still have the impending further reopening. I believe that still second half will be coming, and I think Urban Outfitters would be a great play for investors at this point.
Shepard Smith here. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube.